Hello, everyone. This looks funny on my lips. I'm gonna put some new lip gloss on today, guys, but it's gonna work. Mm. Happy Monday! Happy Monday, everyone! Hey, guys! I hope you guys are enjoying your Monday so far. I am waiting for my guests to get on. I have a good one for you guys today. I hope you enjoy. I don't know why I keep scheduling uh interviews on Mondays because I'm tired. Let me see. Okay, boo, I see you're in the chat. Okay, let me see. Ah, duh, Brittany. See, that's why I'll never go live. I'm learning though. Look. Hey, boo boo. I see you. Did I do it right? Are you on here? Let's see. I done did this more than once. That's see. There you go.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. You're right. It's a Monday.
Layla said, Mama, why you keep scheduling interviews on Mondays? I said, I do not know, child. Cause I be tired. I be really tired. Like this weekend, she had me going. So I just appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm not gonna take up much of your time. I just go ahead and get started. Just wanted to let you know, see where your vibes was today. But hello. This is Britt, your host with Truth Be Told Podcast. This is episode number 26, Co-Parenting with a Blended Family. And I have the Mrs. Carter on the line today. How you doing, boo?
Hello, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad to see you today. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has. That transition from North Carolina to Texas. Whew.
I know. I'm so proud of you for one.
Thank you.
Excited for your family, the growth, the abundance that's coming your way. I know you guys haven't been out there long, but be patient with yourselves because you're in different surroundings and you're learning. So
Yes.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. We're excited.
Well, today I wanted to bring you on the show. I wanted you to, I got nicknames for you. I always say, gosh, how am I going to introduce her today? I know I'm supposed to do it the correct way, her first name, her last name. And it's funny because when Layla was in school with you, and sometimes I call you Dodie, sometimes I say Doe. And Layla was like, who? And then, before you got married, your names changed. And I would have still been calling you by your maiden name if Facebook, social media,
Yeah.
because when she was like Miss Carter, I was like Miss Carter. So anyway, that's a love story, but I definitely want you to introduce yourself.
Okay.
Let us know a little bit about what you got going on and about your baby. I'm so excited to hear about your projects. Guys, she is definitely a woman of God. She's a mother and she's a bonus mother. She is a sister, an aunt, an author, a teacher, and there's no telling what else Doe doing. I don't know what else she got going on. So I'm gonna let you take the floor. Let me know what you got going on today.
Okay. So again, my name is Dosheia Carter. I recently transitioned from North Carolina to Texas. As you stated, I'm a wife. I am a mother of 6. Like you said, I have 4 bonus children and 2 biological children from my husband. I am an author. My newest baby, as you mentioned, is the Rainbow Baby, and it's one of my most valued works. In 2008, my first son was stillborn. So it took me 10 years to have another child. My Callie came along in 2018. And trying to explain to a toddler that they have another sibling that's not physically here on earth with them is like the hardest thing in the world.
Right.
So, we had all kinds of talks. So in, trying to talk to her and, introduce her brother to her, I kind of came up with this idea because there's a lot of women who, have lost children and then, try to explain to their child about their other sibling is hard. And, sometimes children don't get it. So I'm like, what else? The educator in me was like, write a book about it. That's how you'll get it. And so my baby is the rainbow baby. And the book is,
Put it right.
I don't know
Yeah,
what's
let
going
me
on with my
see.
camera. There you
Yeah.
go. The rainbow baby. And it's about my daughter Callie, and my son Josiah, just, explaining to her what a rainbow baby is. Basically that she is God's promise to me, after the storm, that, everything will be okay. So Callie is my rainbow baby, and the book is dedicated to her, my first son Josiah, as well as my little munchkin that came out of nowhere after her, Cash.
I bet, was Cash a surprise or were you guys planning Cash?
Oh no, Cash was a surprise.
Oh wow.
Honey, I was on the toilet crying, like, wait a minute, I have a 4-month-old. This test is wrong. There's absolutely no way I'm pregnant again. But so yeah, he was our little oops. I slipped in there somehow.
He's supposed to be here. It's funny
Yes.
because I remember that time, around that time, and I was like, oh my gosh, Doe pregnant again. Like, oh, and I couldn't believe, because I know, a little bit about you. And I was just
Yes.
like, first of all, I just want to commend you. Let's just start there, because before, I'm gonna back it up a little bit for the audience. Like, I met you through my cousin, and like, you just got, like, your heart is just, you've always been kind to me. If I ask you something that I don't know, like about writing a book, or you're never like, how sometimes as Black people we try to compete against each other. I've never got that vibe from you. So I've always appreciated you, and I was always like, oh, I like her. I like her. Even stepping out with y'all, birthday times or whatever. I always told Daniel. Daniel would say the same thing. And so I was just, when I was thinking of this topic, I was like, I want to talk about it, but I want to talk about it the right way, and I thought of you. You was the first person I thought of, because I was like, you represent a blended family so well, regardless of what we all go through. You know what I'm saying? And behind closed doors, in front of closed doors, sometimes we got to bring it there. When you bring it to the forefront as in a unit, that's what I see as an outsider.
Yes.
So I just want to say to you and your husband, kudos.
Thank you.
It says a lot. Even like when I didn't even know. See, that's how when you minding your business. I would have never known, and because of the way you show up for your bonus babies.
Oh yeah.
Girl, I want to cry, because I'm just like, you don't get a lot of moms like that. And so that's what you're supposed to represent, regardless of what you go through or whatever. I feel like all of those kids need to feel loved.
Yes.
But before we go on the internet, all of that. So you said you got Rainbow Baby got going on. What else do you have going on that you would like to share with us today?
As an author, I also have some journals. I have 3 journals that are also can be purchased on Amazon as well. My first one is called Rich Girl Vibes. We all have that mentality. We trying to get a bag. And so that journal is designed for just that, like planning out your short-term goals, planning out your long-term goals, and putting an action plan in place to get to that bag, to have those rich girl vibes. And then my second journal, which was the first journal I actually put out, is just an affirmation journal. Life gets hard for all of us, and sometimes we need that extra push. And it's an I am affirmation. So on each page of the journal, it has an I am affirmation, just to remind you that you are amazing in who you are. Just that extra, push when you're, writing down your thoughts or journaling out your day.
Right.
And my last journal that I have out right now is called Different Walks. Oftentimes we get so hinged on, looking at our peers or looking at our family members, and their life looks different from ours, and we kind of get stuck on that. instead of realizing that, everybody's walk is different. Your walk is not supposed to look like mine, and mine is not supposed to look like yours. And just reminding you, to find what you're interested in and your passions, and, pursue your goals in whatever manner it takes. We get so stuck on these timelines. You have to have a house by 30. You need to be married. You have to have these kids. And that's not realistic, because
Right.
everybody's journey doesn't occur that way. So just reminding people to stay on their path, the path that they're on, and it doesn't have to look like anybody else's.
I love those different type of journals, just depending on where you're at in life. Especially the affirmations. I know every morning I say affirmations. I do have an accountability group that I just, fellowship with and bring God into forefront, because you got to meditate and get your head together in the mornings for what you're going to deal with that day.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So
And
true.
so when I'm saying them, sometimes I don't always believe them. But what I'm learning is the more you say in repetition,
Correct.
it'll come from, your head to your mind. I mean, from your mind to your heart.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. I also love that you said different walks of life. I've had an episode where I feel like we are always trying to imitate or look at what other people are doing. Like I said, not minding your business. And sometimes we get stuck on, well, gosh, they just bought a new house, or she just got a new car, or they just had a new baby, they just got married. I want to do that. And I think it plays a lot with social media. Social media has a big part in that. And sometimes if you're not focused on what you should be focused on is what you got going on, then you definitely can get
You lose
sidetracked. So I
out
like
on
that.
what's for you.
Right.
There
But I want you to tell the audience today, I'm definitely excited about that. Layla's very excited. She was like, Mama, we got to get her stuff. I was like, yeah, we are this week. I promise you. So be looking out for an order from me, because I'm definitely coming your way. I couldn't wait to look, because I know you always got something going on.
Yes, I try.
But what is your definition of a blended family? When I say that to you, what do you think of when I say that?
Whew, a blended family is interesting. That's the first word that comes to mind, is interesting. Now, I grew up in a blended family. I grew up with my mom, and my mom was actually married twice in the process of my childhood. So I'm one of those lucky kids that have two stepdaddies.
Oh, that's awesome. So you really know the true story of a blended family.
Yes. So I grew up, like I said, in a blended family. My mom's first husband raised me until from 3 to 11. And then my mama's second husband, is just her current husband, has been from 11 to, 12 to now. And now both of my daddies are actively apart in my life. So it's weird, because I have to distinguish sometimes which daddy I'm really referring to. So yes, I came from a blended family. And my biological father has also been married a couple times. And so I was able to see the good and the bad of step parenting and blended families, because I didn't have the best stepmothers in the world. So because I didn't have the best stepmothers, and then I had awesome stepfathers on the other end, I knew coming into my marriage, what kind of step parent I wanted to be, based on what I saw. Growing up, there was no you couldn't distinguish between my step siblings and myself, with either parent. With either dad.
Wow.
I'm their daughter, and you can't tell them anything different.
Wow.
Like, it was never a difference. And still to this day, it's not a difference. And so I knew that that's what I wanted with my stepchildren, because I knew I wanted children. I knew it might have been difficult. The Lord had different plans, and He did bless me with my two babies. I knew that I didn't ever want them to feel any different if I had biological children in the home than my children would. So when I think of blended family, I think of just that. We may not have all the same moms and daddies, but we're one family, we're one unit, and we move accordingly. Right. When I move, they move.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's funny, because that's different walks of life. That's pretty much what you're describing to me when I hear what you're describing of a blended family. And I have seen it so much, like the games just coming in
Mm-hmm.
on you, parents and Cameron or any of them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know that mama look, or you know,
Yes.
like, oh, something. Yeah, let me. I ain't even gonna speak the dough right now. I'll wait till she come back. Hey, boo, and come back
Yes.
because I know I'm a mama too. You better get it together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I
Yes.
love how you said y'all come in as a united front.
Mm-hmm.
Um you don't make one feel less loved than the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so important, especially now in 2022. A
Yes.
lot of us are having kids, and I'm not going to say all of us, I'm just going to say a lot of us are
Mm-hmm.
having kids, and they're not always in a monogamous relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You might just be having fun out here. You don't expect to even have
Yeah.
a child with somebody, and then
Mm-hmm.
boom, you have a kid,
Yep.
and it just changes a lot. I think when I started this journey, I really started, even though Layla's daddy, um he's not the best, he was the best in the
Mm-hmm.
house,
Mm-hmm.
but I started looking at just a different side of it because I had to take ownership in my role.
Mm-hmm.
I had to realize, okay, this is the man that I chose to have a child with, regardless,
Yes.
even though that I was with him. And I was with him for, like, he was my high school sweetheart. So I was with
Okay.
him throughout high school. I was never a side chick. That was really big to me. I was like, I don't understand girls who
Yes.
have babies and then you mad because he ain't parenting, but y'all was just kicking it anyway.
Yeah.
Y'all wasn't together. And then you
Yep.
bringing all these families and blended relationships together, and it can be ruined so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, that's why I said I knew you was the perfect person for this show, just because of the way I commend your parents.
Thank you.
Regardless of the good and the bad, it made when you're represented, that's what you show. You show the good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You show what it's supposed to be like. Because like I said, I would have never known,
Yeah.
and I admire that.
Um,
Um, what is it something that you could tell us, like as far as something that you go through as a bonus mom that you
mhm.
can relate to the audience, in a positive and in, negative tones?
Okay. Well, I think my situation is unique in that most men don't have custody of their children.
Well, let me stop that
Uh,
right there.
okay.
And I'm gonna please pause what you're gonna say. I don't know your husband. But one
Mhm.
thing I did notice was what that was the biggest thing for me. When you sit back and then I realize who you are at the school, and then
Mhm.
we follow each other, and then I'm like, oh my God, wait a minute. Them all his babies.
Yes.
He got custody of his a black man. Like
Yes.
that's that girl is making me tingle, because I'm so big on the type of father I had. And
Mhm.
regardless of what he represents, a black man. So I
Mhm.
just want to commend you, boo, because you did good.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you. And that's one thing I tell anybody is I guess waiting, to have my children older, I really thought about like who I wanted to have children with and what qualities I wanted them to possess. I wanted to ensure that if him and I were not together anymore, that he was going to be still a damn good father to my babies. So I think I did that. I think I did really, really well. But yeah, so we're in a unique situation. When him and I were dating, he had custody of just the boys at first.
Mm-hmm.
And he had 4 children. He has 2 boys and 2 girls before me from his previous marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So he just had the boys. So getting married, I knew that the boys would be in our household full time. So I had already wrapped my head around being, like a full time mom to the boys. Circumstances happened, and we ended up with the girls shortly after we said I do. So I went from 0 kids to 4 kids very quickly. And it was an adjustment period. And when I say an adjustment, I mean an adjustment
Mm-hmm.
because they had already experienced at such a young age the horrible side of having a step parent.
Right.
So because they had already experienced that, nobody was feeling me. I
Right.
don't want a new stepmama. I don't want to get to know you. You seem nice and all, but so That first year, we all went through a lot of hurdles. It took a lot of prayer. I mean, literally, living room, everybody holding hands. We need to pray. It
Right.
took a lot of sitting down, a lot of conversations, and a lot of getting to know you also, because I didn't really know them and they didn't really know me. And
Mm-hmm.
their idea of a step parent was already tainted. So
Right.
because of that, I had to prove myself. Like, I had to prove to them that I was worthy of them opening up to me, getting to know me, before we could even get into the parenting part of it. So we were really in the getting to know you stage for maybe like the first year and a half. I mean, my husband and I, we had to go through a lot of adjusting too, because we had two different parenting styles.
Right.
So that was like an eye opener too. Like, hold on, wait a minute, what you doing?
Right.
I
That's
don't.
what I was gonna ask you, because y'all come from two different upbringings.
Yes.
When it's time for you to parent, how like did y'all? How do you balance that? Because
Mm-hmm.
you might be the good one. And when I say good one, you know
Mm-hmm.
how the kids go. They know they can
Yes.
get over on daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy ain't gonna whoop. But most of the time, daddy don't be the one that whoops.
That's opposite in my house.
Really?
He is the stern parent.
That's good.
He is the I'm gonna get on you. I'm gonna get on you. We gonna have consequences. He was whooping, and I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. I didn't get whooped when I was growing up, so that was a foreign concept to me. So just a lot of things, and
Right.
we literally that first year was getting to know each other, all of us, because there were conversations that we had to have. I'm big on not arguing or disagreeing in front of our kids. We're going to always stand as a united front. But when they
Right.
would go to sleep, it would be a lot of heated conversations
Right.
in that garage. Like, wait a minute, like, I don't agree with this, or
Right.
he didn't agree with this. So it took a lot of compromise, and we really had to, kind of sit down and decide what our parenting style was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful my husband he's a kind and generous man, just overall. So he always listened to me. He always took my feelings into consideration. He always, listen, if I said, hey, she needs this consequence, or she has to have a consequence, or Christian doesn't need a consequence because of this, it wasn't that serious, I was always heard.
Right.
Now, there were some situations because, with 6 kids, everybody got totally different personalities.
Of course.
So there was some manipulation in the beginning, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, well, I'm gonna go ask dad, and he's gonna say this, but I know she just told me no, I couldn't go there, or I shouldn't
Right.
do this. So it just took us being a united front, like literally sitting the kids down, telling them like, hey, I'm not sure what you've seen. Even when my husband and their mother was married,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't the ideal marriage, ideal parenting situation. So we had to kind of let them know, like, everything that happened in the past was the past. This is where
Right.
we're going forward. And this is how we operate in our household. We are a unit. If one parent says no, it is
It's
no.
no.
Like, don't even bother asking, the other parent. So once we got in a groove, by the first year and a half, we were smooth sailing. Now,
Yeah.
of course, they hit those little bumps with teenagehood and
Woo,
hills and
yes.
valleys.
But I
Once
love how
we,
you said he hears you. Like,
mm-hmm,
of course, everybody has their agreements and disagreements. But I
mm-hmm,
love that you get a voice in it. I
yes,
think that's a really big thing, seeing that, you're not their biological mom, but you're their mama. Like, you're still
yes,
that's what I said. Like that, I envy that. I actually look to you for notes. I really do, because my household is different. It's
mm-hmm,
it's different. We are a united front, but I'm not
mm-hmm,
as close to my bonus baby as I see and
mm-hmm,
how I want it to be.
mm-hmm,
And so sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, okay, let me play my role.
mm-hmm,
Because I have stuck my foot in my mouth. I did that one time, and I was
mm-hmm,
like, I'm not doing that no more.
mm-hmm,
And I always felt like if I said something, I felt like, well, gosh, he thinks I'm picking on her. Or it's just like you
mm-hmm,
said, we have two different upbringings. And see,
mm-hmm,
how your husband is how I was raised.
mm-hmm,
We got our butts whooped. Like, my
yes,
dad did not play that. Like, he would talk to us first. And then after
mm-hmm,
he talked to us, okay, now you're getting your butt whooped, because I've
yeah,
already explained to you this. You got to get consequences for what you do.
yeah, mm-hmm,
And it's different with me and him, and she, with her as well. And
mm-hmm.
so what I want to ask you is, how do you deal with their mother or their that side? Tell me some jewels or tricks or be quiet. I'm quiet a lot more now because yeah.
Well, again, I think I'm in a very unique situation, which kind of makes my co-parenting situation different.
Mhm.
Um, Trying to make sure I say this politically correct.
No, I understand, and I wanna. You know what? Thank you for talking about this. When I first thought about it, I was like, okay, I gotta be respectful
Mhm.
of our husbands. So that's why I kind of like came down off my girl. When I asked you to do the interview, I was on a whole different vibe, and I was like, Brittany, come on now, she's married to be respectful.
Well, my husband he was funny. He was like, "Oh, so you're gonna get up there and be like, let me tell you about what kind of baby mama I got to co-parent with." And I was like, "I am not gonna do
No,
that,
we don't
Craig.
talk like that.
I am not gonna do that." But he found the humor in it. But my kid's mother has not always been actively involved as she should. I'm
Mhm.
just gonna put it like that.
Same here.
There's the her side, my side, his side, and somewhere in the middle lies the real truth.
Right,
People say
God's side.
anyway. Yeah, there you go. But she has not actively been a part of our children's lives. So I have been their mom, so I haven't really had to deal with any backlash or feeling like I'm overstepping my boundaries because when you decided to be inactive in their everyday lives, you kind of forfeited, even though those are biologically your children, but if
You
you're
right.
not there for the day to day, you don't know who their pediatrician is, you can't tell me who a coach is, let alone taking your daughters to go get their hair done.
Right.
You can't really, you don't have the luxury to say much.
Right. Right.
So again, she hasn't been there. So because she hasn't always been there, I haven't really had to feel like I had to walk on eggshells when it comes to anybody other than my husband, making sure that he was on board.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as this time has evolved over the last 6 years, there has been a lot of hurdles because in her mind, these are her children, and
Right.
regardless of her absence, she is the head and the tail, the beginning and the end, and that's just not how it is,
Right.
honestly. So here recently, it's been more of a volatile situation because you can't allow 6 years to go by and not be, actively a part of these kids' lives. And I think what parents have to, absent parents anyway, or inactive parents, or
Right.
not day to day parents, however you want to classify yourself, has to realize is these kids get old and they get old real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what you're teaching them or what values you're instilling, in them at home, they also go to school. They deal with their friends. They look
Mm-hmm.
at their friends' parenting situation. They look at their friends' household. They see TV. They see the internet, and they start to form their own beliefs about everything,
That's true.
regardless of what you are telling them at home.
Right.
And so these kids grow up, and when they grow up, you have to be mindful that at some point you can no longer say like your dad is painting a bad image of me, or your stepmom is painting a bad image of me. You have to take accountability that your child has grown up, they're
Mm-hmm.
becoming a teenager, they're experiencing the world, and now that they've experienced the world, they see you through a different lens.
Right.
And when they start to see you through that different lens, that doesn't mean that anyone else has painted an unpleasant image of you.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing's for sure, I always tell my husband, I'm a woman before I'm anything. And I
Right.
will never allow you to do to her what you could possibly do to me on the other end of the stick if you and I are no longer together.
Right.
So you're just being disrespectful. My husband, no, like when he gets too disrespectful, you've lost your mind. That's a woman. Don't address her that way. I don't care what she's done in the past or what she isn't doing. You don't disrespect her.
That's
Um,
right. That's
I've
right.
always made sure that, I'm letting you know, hey, they have a game here. This. So on my end, I've done everything I think I could do to keep her actively involved and to remind all the children that whereas I am acting as your mother, in this household, you are my child. Biologically, she's still your mother and she has
Right.
a presence and a place in your life. So I feel like I've done an amazing job of trying to include her in the fold even though her and I may not see eye to eye
Uh,
on a lot of things.
that's a woman. That's a woman. That's a grown woman.
I try, girl.
It's not always about us because I feel your pain. It's like, like you bite your tongue a lot.
Mhm.
But like I said, you always have shown like just that woman of strength and an example of what a stepmom, bonus mom should be.
Yes.
And I'm gonna always commend you for that because I'm always like, girl, I couldn't do that. Like I just when you girl, in my head I was thinking when I was like, I cannot believe though. Yeah, for real. Like I used to be like,
Yes.
before you had your first son, and
Mhm.
and then you come in, you deal with that, and you still deal with that. That's not going nowhere.
Mhm. Oh no.
He's gonna always be a part of your household,
Mhm.
your heart. Your
Mhm.
kids, that's their sibling, the babies,
Yep.
everybody.
Mhm.
And then come in and be a mom that, like I said, an outsider like me,
Mhm.
I'm thinking you're their mama, like their
Yeah.
biological mama. So I was just like, she's taking
Yeah.
on a road, girl.
But they are great kids, though. I will say that they are great kids. And, after we got, through those, just hurdles of just life,
Right,
and things they
right,
had experienced, like they are amazing kids. Now they're all different. Like we have one that's like self-secluding. He's going to stay in his room and play the game. And we just know that that's him, and you love him for his quirky, slow, because he don't move
right.
at
That's just
with
him.
no, he don't move with urgency at all. So once you learn them, you fall in love with them and
Right.
the qualities that they possess, which makes it even easier. Now, granted, they all work my nerves,
Oh, I know.
from the oldest to the youngest.
Right. It don't matter. It don't matter who you are. All of them. And I'm really big on. I used to tell my husband, you know, all of them get a cookie. If one get a cookie, I'll get a cookie.
Yep.
If she ain't get no cookie, she ain't get no cookie neither. We're not doing
Mhm.
that. Like I'm really big
Yep.
on not trying to show favoritism to
Mhm.
any of them. At first, it was hard for me because I
Mhm.
used to like kind of walk on eggshells because I wanted her to feel comfortable because like you
Mhm.
said, growing up, like I experienced, my stepmama was the little wicked stepmama. And so
Mhm.
I was the one that was always like coming at her, like, girl, you ain't my mama. Like, you ain't gonna do nothing to me. I'm waiting on it. And
Mhm.
I've had them kind of pushbacks from her just because
Mhm.
it's not a consistency over here. That's another subject. Cause I'm always getting on my husband, like, if she was over here on a regular
Yeah.
schedule. Like she needs to
Mhm.
be, that needs to be, I don't care what such and such say, you want to take
Mhm.
control,
Yes,
but I
you
can't.
do.
So how do
Yeah.
you do that? Like well, let me back that up because you've already explained that. How do you deal with their feelings? Like that's because that's their mom. At the end of the
Okay.
day,
Yeah.
that's still their
Well,
mom.
it's interesting because, as I said before, when you have so many kids, everybody's personalities are different.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them internalized the things that they endured because my kids kind of endured some horrible things when they were with their mom and their stepdad. Like, so all of them have processed those things in many different ways. My youngest stepson was 2 when my husband and I got married.
Oh wow.
So to be quite honest, he knows that she's his biological mom.
But you his
She
mama.
goes to visit, but I'm his mama. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I've been there,
Right.
So he, on the other hand, he gets excited when she comes around, of course, naturally, because he gets that baby vibe. I get to do what I want, so I get to eat what I want to,
Right. Mom
and
gonna give me what I want.
yeah, and nobody, my Umi, because they call me Umi and Daddy. They like, oh no, you done had a soda, you done had some cookies, you can't have no more. We're the disciplinary ones, so he gets excited, when she does come around. But to look for love, it's me where he gets that from
Right.
because I have been, his mother. My middle girl, Kaylin, she has struggled hard with her mom, not being around as much. She struggled hard with, having a stepmom and all the transitions that they've had to experience. Um, and she still to this day, kind of struggles with it because she's the child that wants to be with her mom.
Right. Right.
She wants her mom around. She wants to live with her mom. And, you know, it's difficult because, we've you try to explain things to them, but you also try to keep it PG-13 because she's
Right.
a child, and
Right.
I don't want to give you too much information. And I'm not about to have an adult conversation with a child.
No, you're
I'm
not
gonna give
supposed
you,
to.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna give you what you need to be able to process your feelings.
Right.
But in other than that, then that's all I can give you. So she still struggles because in her mind, her mom and her dad were never supposed to get divorced.
Right.
She was never supposed to be a part of a blended family.
Right.
It was her mom, her dad, and that's how it's supposed to be. And in her mind, or her heart, I believe she loves me nonetheless for the role that I play in her life. But she prefers her mom and her dad together,
Right.
even 6 years. And we all understand that. We've all come to grips with that. My husband, myself, her siblings even know this. They'll say it like, Kaylin, we know you just want mommy and daddy to be together, and that's just what it is. So I'm big on telling them to respect how each of them feel, because all four of my stepchildren feel totally different about their mother,
Right.
in many different instances. Like my oldest, he's at this point now where to be honest, we're in a weird space because
Hmm.
he's 16 years old.
Oh yeah,
Um,
he
so
feeling himself. He wet
he
behind the
really,
ears.
yeah. And so he like, I don't have to deal with her.
So don't.
I don't have to deal with her. And as much as I understand where he's coming from, and I personally, you know what I'm saying,
That's still his
you're not
mom.
my favorite person, but I'm encouraging you, like, that's your mom. Like, you should text her. You should
Right.
not ignore her, So he's in a weird space. And because of that, it does cause friction amongst the siblings.
Right.
And so we have to sit down and have those conversations and tell each other, you have to be respectful of each other's feelings, because Kaylin, where you feel this way and your feelings are valid, that does not mean that Christian's feelings aren't valid.
That's true.
That doesn't mean how he processes the situation isn't valid, or how Cameron processes the situation isn't valid. So it's taken a while for them too, but they're at this point now where they're respectful of each other's feelings. They understand, like, I'm not going to say certain things, or I'm not going to get mad at you because you want to go see mama and I don't want to go see mama. Or
Right.
I'm not going to get mad at you because you're texting her and you're talking to her on the phone and I'm not. So
Right.
we're in this weird space right now where everybody is just learning to respect everybody's feelings because they process the trauma in different
Right.
ways. So
Well, I want to commend you. Like I said, I want to keep commending you on being all that you are to them. Where does your feelings come into play as far as how do you deal with you? Like where do you come into play? I mean, I love how
yeah.
you talked about your babies, but we always get pushed to the side. So how do you
Hmm.
deal with that?
That's a good question, because especially when you have a blended family and then you have a large blended family,
Right.
there is little time for you, and
Hmm.
there's little time for your feelings because you have to worry about everybody else's feelings. Um, and I will say, I commend my husband because he's my sounding board. When they go to sleep at night and I'm pissed off about whatever it may be, I'm
Whatever.
pissed off because she texted and said something crazy, or I'm pissed off because the kids have just been absolutely horrible today. Nobody's listening. We got these teenagers and their hormones raging. He's honestly, my sounding board. He's the one where I can go in the room and I can cry and just be like, I'm fed up. I can't take this anymore. Like,
Right.
something has to give. And the great thing about it is I can go in there and I can cry and say, I'm fed up. I can't take this anymore. And he doesn't take it personal because he knows it's just a moment. He knows it's my outlet.
Right.
So, he's there to listen, interject when needed. But it's not like I'm gonna hear it the next day, like, oh, you said you was done and you was tired of me and my kids. I never have to hear it again because he knows, the
Right.
sacrifices, or he acknowledges the sacrifices that I make for all of our children. And he allows me those moments to just be like, forget them all.
Right.
Now, when I say forget them all, I don't mean four. I mean forget all
All
six
of them.
of them. So he is an amazing man in that is he does not hold it against me when I have those moments of weakness, because we all do, where we're just like, forget this. This is too much. This is not what I signed up for. So he's
Love it.
amazing in that
I
aspect. Yeah.
been on this phone. Just give me
Okay.
a moment. They should keep calling me. I'm like, why does she keep calling me? Like I'm really about to do, and this is my little one, and they know when I'm doing an interview. I think somebody got the message because I was like, just give me a moment, guys.
You're muted. Okay. Okay.
I turned in the I really had a moment, but I'm sorry.
You're
I'm
good.
sorry. But what I wanted to say, because I'm not gonna hold you too much longer, I just want to appreciate you coming on here today. Like expressing to the people how important it is to co-parent with a
Yes.
blended family, how important it is to be a grown man and a grown woman. Because when you told me that your husband lets you go in there and just vent, like
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's a grown man. Like you don't
Yes.
have a lot of grown black men that are
Mm-hmm.
not take offense to she's just having a moment and she's venting, and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to do with my kids. These are our
Mm-hmm.
kids.
Yep.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's never my our, because that's really
Mm-hmm.
big to me. When I got married, I didn't feel like my daughter, and I might be talking a little too much, but it's just me. I can talk. Shoot. I just didn't feel like it was a blended united family outside of us.
Mm-hmm.
When you deal with his family, I don't know his parents or
Mm-hmm.
everybody outside of y'all household. How do you
Mm-hmm.
deal with that? Is there any imbalance in that? Or do, because
Mm-hmm.
like, you come from, like you told me, that's why I was like so like shocked when you told me what you come from.
Mm-hmm.
Because my blended family growing up, it was not like that. It was always,
Mm-hmm.
everybody always knew who kids were who.
Yeah.
And that just it's like, okay, everybody knows that this is not Layla's biological dad. Like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be said. I mean, duh, look, like, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand why that's such a big thing in this society.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always commend families when they do show as a united
Mm-hmm.
front. Like I said, hey, these are our kids. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
who's mom, who's dad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's a big thing to me.
Yes. So my family, as the way we were raised is
Hmm.
there's no step anything,
That's
like
right.
period.
That's right.
So my from the day one, they are automatically my kids. Those are my aunts. Those are their nieces and nephews. Everybody. It
Right.
nothing has changed. My husband doesn't have a large family, but his mother, those are she they call and be like, "Let me speak to your mama,"
Right.
and we know that that's I'm who she's talking to. So our family has been amazing. Like there is no distinguishing between any of our children. If it's a birthday, my family and his family is celebrating all of our babies' birthdays, gifts, presents coming into town or going wherever we are. They ride for my bonus babies the same way they ride for my biological babies.
That's all right.
Um, Now, for the world, I think we all had a transition
Mm-hmm.
because the world, like when they're going to school and their peers and
Right.
teachers and
Right.
things, that's where it got interesting. So at first, I was Miss Dosheia. When we first got married, I was Miss Dosheia,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how they refer to me. That's what they wanted to call me. It's perfectly fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
So as they started going to school and they were talking to their friends, I think a lot of it, a lot of the times they was like they felt awkward saying Miss Doshia and saying my stepmom. So we had to sit down and have a conversation because I heard my oldest stepson refer to me as his mom one day.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't talking to me. He was telling his friends like, "Your mom has to call my mom."
Right.
And so then we sat down and, we had to have a conversation like, is this something that you really want to do? Because we've never talked about, these titles. So we sat down as a family and decided that, collectively, like, what are we doing here? What does this look like to you? Is this something that you want to refer to me as, or did you just say it because you didn't want your friends, to feel a certain type of way? So we talked about those feelings. And then we decided on Umi because we thought that would be the most thing, to be respectful to their mother also. Because again, I try to be as respectful as possible, even though my heart be like, So I try to be respectful as possible. So we came up with Umi. Actually, I had another set of students that used to refer to their mom as Umi.
Okay.
And when I asked her what it meant, she told me that it meant mother in Arabic. So then when I explained it to my kids, they was like, "Oh yeah, we like that." So
Mm-hmm.
that way they could call me Umi and explain to their friends like, "Okay, yeah, that's my mom, my stepmom," or however they wanted to preface it. But it wasn't
Right.
disrespecting their biological mom. So we would never be in the same place and they would be like, "Mom, mom," and
Right.
everybody would looking up. So it's Umi and then their mom.
I love that.
So
I
yeah,
love
we
that. I love
we
all
had
of
to
it.
have that conversation.
No, that's awesome. Keep
Yeah.
doing what y'all are doing. God is definitely in the midst of your family. I congratulate y'all. I root for y'all. I
Thank
love
you.
seeing your pictures. Keep
Thanks.
showing it because that's what we need. We need to see that. I love seeing your husband. I don't know him, but I respect
Yeah.
him. Just being there. Some girls need their daddies. I mean,
Mhm.
boys need their daddies too, but them babies, them girls,
Mhm.
they need their daddy. So I always,
Mhm.
it just makes me bright up. It makes me be like, oh, like that's
Yes.
how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to
Yes.
be right there, regardless, regardless.
Yes.
But I'm gonna ask you a takeaway. I'm gonna
Okay.
ask you to think of something that you can say to the audience. I'm always trying to talk to my younger women on healing their inner child and inspiring. That's my
Mhm.
avatar for this
Mhm.
podcast. So
Okay.
if it's something that you can think of, I want you to think of that. But before I do that, I like to ask like random poll questions. It's only
Okay.
5. It's just random. Whatever comes to
Okay.
your head, just say it. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say a good one because I know you probably missed this one. But the first one is: would you prefer Bojangles or Popeyes?
Bojangles, girl. Oh, I miss it. I miss it so bad.
I had to say that. That was the first thing I thought. I was like, oh my God, I'm talking about going to Texas. I'm going to miss them
Girl.
Supremes, honey.
And it's nothing like it. They tried to say Cane's was like Bojangles and Chick-fil-A. No, it's
No.
not. Nothing compares to those good old Supremes. So, yes.
Okay. And would you prefer, do you believe that men can be bisexual?
No.
Okay. And would you prefer ice cream or apple pie?
Ice cream. I hate apple pie.
Okay. Android or Apple?
Apple baby.
I know that's right. Okay. The beach or the mountains?
The beach.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I grew up on the coast. New Bern is by water. I'm a water baby. I love the
You miss
water.
home?
I do. I do.
Are you going
It's
home soon?
no,
No.
unfortunately, November. We'll go home for Thanksgiving.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Cameron has a big basketball tournament out in Florida in
Okay,
June, so that's where we'll
congratulations. That's
go.
gonna be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Yeah, that's fun.
yeah. So my family's
Okay.
supposed to be meeting me out there, so I'll get to see them in June.
That's gonna be fun. I know you very
Yeah.
connected to your family, so I had to,
Hmm.
shout them out, New Bern. I say,
Yes.
no country now. We both country girls, so I recognize one.
Yes.
But what are the takeaway? Like I said, what is a takeaway that you can give to the audience today about co-parenting with a blended family?
Mm, I would say communication. Just anybody who knows me, I'm probably an over communicator. If you walk past me too fast and the wind hit me, I'm gonna say you hurt my feelings when you walk past me that fast because it made me feel. So that's how I preface a lot of my conversations. In communicating is one letting them know like what the action was that they did, how it made me feel, and then you can move from there. So communicate, 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 communicate. You can't communicate enough. And even with their mother, I do need to say this. There are hills, valleys, ups and downs.
Right.
I always try to be the bigger woman. So communication has not always been terrible. Actually,
Mhm.
the communication between her and I, as it relates to our children, is much better than her and my husband's communication.
That's awesome.
Um, Because my husband, he lacks communication skills. I think he only knows
Okay.
how to communicate with me. So
That's okay. That's what he
communicate.
got you for.
There you go.
Yeah.
Communicate. That's honestly it. Just communicate. And set boundaries. I do believe that because that's where I'm at in this stage of our co-parenting journey is setting boundaries and also realizing that it's okay to set boundaries. It's
Right.
okay to tell my husband that you had babies by her, you deal with it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I choose to sit this one out. And it's okay to set those boundaries. It's okay to say, I choose not to be a part of this aspect of co parenting today, or I choose not to be this aspect of this co parenting. And that's not saying you're picking and choosing, being a parent or picking and choosing, actively being involved with it. But everybody has to choose their piece also.
Right.
So some things are not worth your peace.
Yes.
Some battles are not worth fighting. Some conversations are not worth having. And it's okay to say that. It's not worth me having this conversation. This is one I'm going to pass the baton. You need to handle it.
I love that.
So be a united front, communicate, communicate, communicate.
I love it. I love it, though. I needed to hear that. You really talking to me today and the audience, guys. This is for you too, but this was for me. I needed to hear that today.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank
Yes.
you. Thank you so much for coming on the
Yes.
show today. Let the audience know where we can find your information, your Rainbow Baby,
Yes.
and where we can find you at on social media.
All my social media handles, well, Instagram is dodimydodi. Twitter, dodimydodi. And also I have Linktree. So if you go to linktree.com/dodimydodi, it'll take you to the Amazon links for all three journals as well as my Rainbow Baby book. So Linktree/Dodi, DODI, my DODI, and there you have
Hey.
it. Yes.
Well, thank you so much. Like I said, be looking for me this week. I'm definitely going to be going straight to your website. I appreciate you guys. I
Yes.
am going to sign out today. Make sure you guys go like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We are new. We are
Yes.
growing. I'm still learning, girl. So, but we going to get there.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but this is episode number 26. I am signing
That's
out with
amazing.
Miss Dosheia Carter, co-parenting with a blended family. You guys have a good
Yes.
evening. Bye,
Bye,
boo
guys.
boo.
Bye.